Hi, Eric Linask here. We are at ITEXPO in Miami. In the studio with me today from Broadsoft is Asif Rahman. Asif, thanks for joining me.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So, a couple things that we can talk about. I think one interesting thing you just mentioned to me, you've reached a pretty significant milestone with your UC users.
Yeah, absolutely. We really recently announced that we had surpassed the 10 million milestone for hosted UC lines installed, which to us is a huge milestone, but it means a lot more. 10 million, it's a very big number.
Sure.
But it means a lot more than that to us. So a couple of points on that. One, if you look at the Infonetics data, that represents, if you take out what part of that was for North America, that's half of the North American market. So we've got competitors that talk about their market share and how well they're doing, but we represent half of the North American UC hosted lines installed right now. To me, that's hugely significant, and more people should know about that.
Certainly good to know. The other thing beyond, as you say, it is a very nice number, but it does show that the market continues to grow.
The market is growing at an amazing pace. The transition, I think, I hate to use buzzwords, tipping point, and whatnot, but 2014, I think enterprises really got used to the idea of cloud. So many more services are moving that way, and certainly hosted UC is on the fast track there. But another interesting point about that milestone is that we don't sell to end users. We sell through our trusted service providers, and what a testament to the relationship between ourselves and our service providers, a relationship between service providers and the other partners that we bring around for the entire solution. To put that all together, to deliver that reliable, useful service, delivers the business benefits that our end customers need to surpass that milestone. So it's a real testament to everybody working together in the same direction.
And it shows also that enterprises are starting to get a better grasp around some of those the business benefits, understand how UC can really help them. Because the other trend that we're seeing is not only are businesses and enterprises installing UC systems, but there's internal adoption of those features and capabilities. It's one thing to pay for and install a solution. It's something entirely different to actually have people using it.
Well, that's a great point you make, because in the past, and I've been doing UC for probably 10 years now, in the past you may make a sale, you may deploy 100 or 1,000 licenses, who's really using it?
Right.
So now you're really starting to see, we talked a vision about UC in the past. I think that vision is really, it's actually on the street now and being used. And I'll give you an example. So I work from a home office, and actually Broadsoft is a great example of a company that really embodies using UC. My boss is in California. I have 2 colleagues in the UK, colleagues in Washington, DC. So we're all over the world, basically, different time zones. But I was up there in the lounge here at ITEXPO. I had my mobile app going on my smartphone, my UC app going. I was on my laptop to get some files on Google Docs, because the Wi-Fi wasn't good enough here for voice, but the public LTE here was good enough for my voice over IP call. So I'm on conference calls, I'm instant messaging people to make sure they're on, getting on the call, we're on the call, we're doing business, I'm looking at the information on my laptop, and where's my office? My office is at a little table at ITEXPO. So the office is really anywhere you need to be. And businesses understand that, and the technology is now ready for prime time to deliver that.
Where do you see WebRTC fitting into the whole unified communications question?
Yeah, I think it's going to be lots of hype around WebRTC,
Sure.
but there are some really practical, pragmatic things that you can actually do with it today. And so I talked about how here at Broadsoft we're a distributed organization. We use and we embody using UC. But what about my customers? What about my prospects? What about my partners? People I might want to do business with? How do I bring them into all the benefits of UC? And I think that's where, at least initially, the first really big heavy lifting that WebRTC does. And so, example, in our solution, My Room, which is part of our UC suite, which is basically it's a virtual office that you can have on your desktop or on your smartphone. We use WebRTC such that I can email you a link, you click on the link, and then you show up in My Room. So I might have some of my colleagues in my room, I might be sharing some presentation material, might be sharing a spreadsheet, and you click on a link and you are fully in part of that engagement, that collaboration. So in the past, you could join the conference call, but I have to email you the document. But now you're fully in the collaboration session. I can send you a chat message, you can be part of the video if you want to be, part of the audio, and have the collaboration. So it's totally bringing, extending the arms of UC around customers, prospects, and partners.
WebRTC seems to me that WebRTC sort of is going to be that almost behind the scenes facilitator of simplified, very easy collaboration, communication, not necessarily something that is going to be upfront and visible to the users, so taking over the world. It's just going to be a part of that overall solution that's going to make many of those collaboration features very easy to use.
Yeah, it's totally, when people talk about, we need to do a campaign on WebRTC, and I'm thinking, well, no, not really. Let's do a campaign on what the benefits are of the overall UC solution. And certainly WebRTC is one of the cogs under the hood to make it all work. Now, as a matter of fact, we recently launched Broadsoft Labs, which is basically a sandbox that allows, both ourselves, but certainly our partners, service provider partners, and other partners to develop WebRTC applications. It's all for free. It's online. You just register and you go ahead and play around with WebRTC. We have a toolkit in there, kind of a wizard that takes you through the development of an app. And well, what app might it be? Well, maybe I'd like to think we'd come up with the best app, but let our partners do it. Let our service providers do it, and let them get the feel for it because it's so new. Let them play around with it and then create something new, and then maybe it integrates into our own product. Maybe it's something for them standalone, but it gives them a chance to play around with WebRTC to deliver that value to the end customer.
And what is the feedback and the reaction that you're getting from your service provider partners?
On the sandbox?
Yes.
Yeah, so they love it. They want to go in there and play with it. They're still, it's early days, so they're not sure, are we ready to deploy a solution based on this? Do you want to depend on us, the vendor, to actually productize a solution and build it in? And certainly, as I said, with my room, we've done that. So giving them more confidence, but they like the idea they can experiment and play, and that we trust them. We trust the developers out there, we trust the service providers to figure out what's needed for the customers they're dealing with.
How do you envision the service provider community in general being able to monetize WebRTC?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I look at it as monetizing WebRTC itself. It sort of relates to what you said. WebRTC is going to be under the hood. This is just a way to further expand. I think the service providers understand the value of UC. They understand the value they can bring to their customers. Their customers are getting it now too. Well, now how do you extend it beyond? Because if you're only communications within your business, well, it's not a way to make money, right? It's not a way to expand the business. I have to talk to prospects. I have to talk to customers. I have to talk to partners. And WebRTC lets you do that. So the monetization is expanding UC beyond the walls of the enterprise itself.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you mentioned a couple of other announcements. You talked about the sandbox, you talked about the growth.
Yeah, so we had a new initiative probably maybe a year and a half ago. We call it BroadCloud. And BroadCloud is our own managed hosted UC service. So we have service providers that have our software, they build it up in their own data center and they run that service. But we said, well, let's provide another way for service providers to put a hosted UC service on the street. We'll put it in our data center, we'll do the heavy lifting, right? And then they can sign up for it as a service, and it's a sort of a MRR type service where they sell a license, they bill their customer, we bill them for those licenses. And that is really going like gangbusters. We have some great service providers on it already, growing very quickly. As a matter of fact, we acquired a company called Hipcom in the UK. We acquired Phenocom in Germany to have kind of a beachhead in those two markets, and that'll allow us to do further geographic expansion in Europe. So we're very excited about the potential for BroadCloud, and primarily around the idea that it's very quick to market, very quick to revenue, and minimal investment required.
Oh, that's certainly all very exciting, and kind of in addition to the growth of UC, also points to the fact that there's so much more comfort and secure, a sense of security around doing things in the cloud than even a year ago.
Yeah, and I think certainly it seems 2014 really was like a tipping point year where that was happening. And I think when you think of it logically, if I'm an enterprise, I got 500 employees, I've got an IT team, I got the best security guys I can get to secure my data center or my premise-based solution. But with a partner like Broadsoft or other hosted providers, they've got like the best security folks in the world working for those companies to secure those solutions. It's sort of we have to make our solutions secure, so we have the best folks doing it. That's our mission. If I'm a manufacturer, my mission is not securing the data center, but for us the mission is securing the data center, and all of us in this space have to do that. So I would argue that our solutions are more secure than maybe one you might have on your own premise.
Excellent. Well, it's been great talking to you. Thank you for being here at ITEXPO, and thanks for joining me on the show today.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot for having us.